Hello, and welcome to Smart Mortgage Insights. I'm Mandy LaRose.
And I'm Conor Levinka,
Ring, ring, ring.
residential mortgage. This is Conor.
Hi, Connor. I was wondering if you could tell me what the rates are today.
I could, but I need some more information.
Do you need to open up the secret vault to tell me what those rates are?
Maybe. I'm not trying to be secretive, but I just need more information. Can you give me more information? Can you be patient with me?
That's really what it comes down to these days when you call to find out what a rate is. We wish we could just say, and the rate is. And believe it or not, as Connor once mentioned, I've been doing this for decades. There was a time where you could just call and we would just tell you what the rate was because it was that easy. But things have changed a lot and how the market works. And so we definitely need some information. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we wanted to dedicate this episode to just talking about rates. We really wish it could be a little bit more clear. People call and they really do, just like that call and ask, what is today's rates? And we would love to be able to tell you it's this, but it's unfortunately not that simple.
Because it's this.
It is broad. I mean, there's a massive difference. And so, you may have heard that in real estate there are three rules, and that is location, location, and location. And that's really always kind of true. Well, in our world, it's really about risk. And so if we had rules, it would probably be risk, risk, and risk. And so when you call and ask for a rate, we need more information. We're going to have to start asking you different questions because each different scenario is going to depend on what the rate is. And so maybe it's a owner-occupied property. Maybe it's an investment property. Maybe you have a high FICO score. Maybe you have a low FICO score. Lots of different things. Give me a couple more examples.
Maybe you're a first-time home buyer. And
Yep.
so, first-time home buyers, they generally, if you fit under the program requirements, you generally get a little bit better rate. So, and with the first-time home buyer program, we can, depending on what state you're in, what bond program you're using, it's a lot easier to quote those rates because those are pretty set rates. But if you're not going into one of those programs, then like Connor said, depending on what you're going to put down, credit scores, things like that. So if you're someone who has excellent credit and you come in and you're not a first-time home buyer, you're going to owner-occupy the property, you're going to put 20% down, you're going to get a better interest rate than someone who comes in and has excellent credit and maybe only puts 5% down.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, if you put down a lower down payment, should you expect a lower or higher interest rate?
Exactly. I mean, and that's really, you give more and we give a little more, I guess.
Yeah. Ultimately, if you're going to put down a large down payment, then that's going to make the risk to the investor lower.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't pay your bill, then and the investor needs to sell that property, then there's more room to sell that property. So that's why it really comes down to risk.
Yeah, if someone comes in here and they're going to be putting down a huge lump sum of money,
They've got a good credit score.
yeah, the reality of that is the investors looking at that going, that is someone who's probably not going to walk away from this was because one, they put a large down payment in, they have a large investment into this already, versus someone who's going to put a little bit down or very minimum down. If life happens, things happen, and they can't get out of that situation, they might walk away from that a little bit easier. Now, again, no one's walking away from a mortgage easy, quote unquote, but
The other thing that's true is different programs assign different rates. Certain government programs, they tend to, can't always guarantee it, but they tend to have a little bit better rates. With the VA program, with an FHA program, these programs, they are designed to help specific groups of borrowers getting into homes. So in turn, a lot of times they try to have more competitive rates.
absolutely. And they've got their guaranteed mortgages as well. As far as the VA has a guarantee fee, the FHA has an upfront mortgage insurance plus a monthly mortgage insurance. So it gives the investors a little bit more security on that. If that loan was the default, they would get a little bit back on that as well. But maybe you're someone that's coming in and you're going to purchase a non-owner occupied property. So you're gonna buy an investment property. Well, you are going to put a chunk of change down because that's going to be the requirement. You're going to be putting anywhere from 20 to 25%, if not a little bit more down. But you're not going to get a break on that interest rate for putting that money down because it's non-owner occupied. And again, the moral of the story is risk. Someone who's buying a non-owner occupied property, even though they're putting 20, 25% down, the reality is if life happens, they're probably going to let a second home go or an investment. You're going to pay for the roof over your head, exactly. So you are going to pay a higher rate when you are looking at purchasing an investment property, something that you're not going to be living in. And then also for a second home, depending on what you're going to put down and depending on who you're using for an investor, you could potentially pay a little bit higher rate. However, here at Residential Mortgage, we have an amazing second home loan program.
We do.
So you can always talk to us about that. We can give you the details of that program as well.
And I know this sounds super complicated, and we're trying to not make it so, but it's one of those things that just talk to us. Talk to us about your scenario, and we can best put you in the loan that's possible for you. Because the truth is, it works both ways. If we only had one rate, then if you were a really, really good borrower, you're putting a lot of money down, you would not get a better rate. And then the opposite is true, that if you had a more extreme circumstance, then we could still get you a loan, but maybe a higher rate and higher fees. So it becomes definitely fair, but be patient with us if you're asking us for a rate, and we in turn need to ask you 5 or 6 questions to give you that rate. It's not that we're trying to be secretive. In fact, we're very transparent, but there are so many different variables that can go through, that we want to make sure that we are giving you the best rate possible based on your situation.
Yeah, I mean, we're all competitive with one another, so we don't just want to spout a rate that A, isn't true, or B, sounds outlandish. We want to be able to give you the best rate available for the scenario. And so being able to know what it is you're going to buy, if you're going to live in it or not, how much you plan on putting down, what your credit score is. Credit scores, they hold everything, these days when it comes to a mortgage. They really hold the key to what kind of loan you're going to get, what kind of mortgage insurance you're going to pay if you're putting less than 20% down, and also what kind of rate you're going to get and what kind of fees you might pay to get that rate as well. So it's really important that we have all the details so that we can give you the best plan and best details as well, and know what kind of score you're looking at. Another thing too, and we've talked about this in the past, is when we talk about credit, is there are ways of being able to boost your credit, and we can discuss that with you too. If maybe it's just a matter of paying something off or getting a credit card paid down a little bit to boost that score up, that could help save you in rate or fee or mortgage insurance. We can absolutely guide you and help you through that process as well.
We hope this helped shed some light onto rates. We both love talking about rates, so by all means, if you have any questions, reach out to one of us or email us at podcast@residentialmtg.com, and we would love to give you more information on daily rates. Until then, we'll see you next time.
This podcast is sponsored by Residential Mortgage, LLC, NMLS numbers 167729, 196, 576, and 1820404. Equal housing lender.